Jimin walked out at Gillette Stadium with a silver braid and 65,000 people forgot how to breathe. That's it. That's the summary. But we're not doing a summary today, we're doing the full story. Because what happened at BTS's two-night stop in Foxborough, Massachusetts on August 5th and 6th deserves every single minute we're about to spend on it. The silver hair was already doing damage since MetLife. But in Foxborough, Jimin showed up with it braided, this enchanted side braid that swept across his shoulder, catching every beam of stage lighting in a way that made it look less like hair and more like something that doesn't belong in a regular stadium on a regular night. People who were inside that building have been trying to describe it since the show ended. The word that keeps coming up from multiple people independently is the same word every time: ethereal. One person wrote, "I looked at him and forgot what year it was." Another one said, "I've seen a lot of concerts. I have never seen anything like that." These are not random comments. These are people who were physically present in that stadium trying to put words to something that resisted being put into words. And that's just the look. Wait until we get to what he actually did on that stage. Because the braid was the opening act of a night that had one of the most unexpectedly emotional moments of the entire ARIRANG World Tour. A surprise that nobody, not even the members themselves, saw coming. All of that is coming. But first, let's talk about how we got here. Because the Foxborough braid did not come out of nowhere. It is the latest chapter in one of the most talked about visual evolutions any artist has gone through on any tour this year. Throughout the ARIRANG World Tour, which opened in Goyang, South Korea in April and has been running across the world since, Jimin's hair has been one of the most followed aesthetic storylines of any artist on any tour this year. This is documented. This is not fan exaggeration. When he first debuted the long honey blonde hair at the Gwangwamun Square comeback show in March, outlets from all K-pop to Star News to mainstream entertainment sites were writing about it. Fans called him Lion Jimin. Then the nicknames upgraded to Rapunzelman when the hair grew even longer by the Tokyo Dome dates in April. Then in Las Vegas in May, and this is the chapter that changed everything, the chapter that arguably launched an entirely new category of Jimin visual discourse. He appeared on stage at Allegiant Stadium on May 23rd with the long blonde hair partially braided on top. Braids. On Jimin. In Las Vegas. In front of 60,000 people. The internet did not survive it. Jimin braids was trending across multiple platforms within hours. TikTok challenge videos appeared where people tried to recreate the hairstyle. And then, and this is the detail that tells you everything you need to know about the cultural reach of what Jimin does visually. A news anchor on Telemundo, the largest Spanish-language broadcaster in the United States, paid tribute to the look on air with BTS's song, Who, playing in the background. A mainstream news anchor, wearing Jimin's hairstyle. On Telemundo, that happened. The braided blonde look became so iconic that on July 16, 2026, it appeared as an official avatar accessory on Roblox. Someone created an item in the Roblox catalog titled K-pop idol JiminStyle braids blonde hair, available for 65 Robux. Jimin's hairstyle became a purchasable item in one of the world's most popular gaming platforms while he was still on tour. That is how far this look traveled. And then the silver arrived. August 1st, 2026. MetLife Stadium soundcheck in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Jimin walked out and the blonde was gone. In its place, cool ash silver gray hair. The departure was so complete and so immediate that fans coined a new term on the spot, Goodbye Blonde Min, because it felt like the end of an era that had defined the first half of the tour. And in the hour that followed, Goodbye Blonde Min trended while people processed what they were seeing and simultaneously accepted that Silver Jimin in 2026 is, somehow, even more of a catastrophe for human composure than blonde braided Jimin had been. Now here is the detail that made Foxborough different from MetLife. Because at MetLife the silver hair was the story on its own. Beautiful, devastating, generating clips that went everywhere. But in Foxborough, at Gillette Stadium on August 5th and 6th, the silver hair was styled differently. Not just loose, not just the soft gradient that had characterized the New Jersey shows. At Foxborough, Jimin's silver hair was styled into an enchanted side braid. An enchanted side braid, with silver. On Jimin, a fan account noted that he had rocked an enchanted side braid style at the Foxborough show. And the word enchanted is doing exactly as much work as it needs to do there. Because that is the correct word. There is something about silver hair braided and draped to one side that on Jimin does not simply look like a hairstyle. It looks like a decision made by someone who understood what this specific combination would do to the specific lighting of a specific stage in a specific stadium in Massachusetts on a specific August night and planned accordingly. The clips that spread from the opening of Night 1, the first moment Jimin appeared on stage in that look, are not describable in neutral language. People were screaming in the building. People watching the live clips being posted on X were also screaming in text form in comment sections, in replies, in QRTs that said things like, "What is this? What is this? And somebody please come and get me, I am not well. And the braid plus the silver plus the lighting plus the stage plus him, I cannot." None of those responses are considered journalism. All of them are accurate. 65,000 people saw this in person. The rest of the world saw it through fan cams and clips within hours. And the aggregate reaction across both groups was identical in feeling, if not in decibel level. Now let's talk about what happened on that stage beyond the visual. Because Jimin performing at Foxborough was not just about how he looked. It was about what he did. And what he did across both nights was remind everyone watching why the visual and the performance and the artistry are inseparable from each other when it comes to him specifically, because they always have been. The set list for Night 1 at Gillette included the standard ARIRANG World Tour structure, newer tracks from the 5th album woven with classics, built across a 360-degree in-the-round stage that placed every one of those 65,000 people within proximity of BTS at some point during the night. The stage design is the same one that has been used since Goyang, and it continues to be one of the most impressive production choices on any stadium tour running anywhere in the world right now. No bad angle, no section left out. At some point, BTS performs toward you. During They Don't Know About Us, the ARIRANG album track that Jimin co-wrote, one of the most personal songs in BTS's current catalog. The silver braid under the stage lighting created a visual quality that multiple people at the show described, independently, as otherworldly. The choreography for this song involves transitions between full movement and held stillness that require a level of physical control that comes from Jimin's contemporary dance training, the classical technique foundation he built before he was ever an idol, that makes his body operate in ways that are technically distinct from most performers working at this scale. The stillness sections create silence in a stadium of 65,000 people. The movement sections release that silence into sound. And in between both, there is Jimin in a silver braid, doing something with his stage presence that is very difficult to explain but very easy to see and feel. And then the surprise song happened. And this is where Foxborough truly became Foxborough. Every stop on the ARIRANG World Tour features a surprise song segment. 2 songs played by the stadium DJ that are not included in the official set list. Songs that even the members themselves do not know in advance. The idea is spontaneity. The reality is, at every city, something completely unplanned becomes the most talked about moment of the entire night. At Gillette Stadium on August 5th, one of the 2 surprise songs was No More Dream. No More Dream, BTS's 2013 debut single. Their very first song ever performed publicly. The track from Too Cool for School that introduced 7 teenagers to the world 13 years ago, in a small venue that was nothing like Gillette Stadium. The opening notes played through the sound system and what happened next, both in the building and documented on Fancam, is one of the most joyful things that has emerged from this entire tour. Every member immediately recognized it. Every member immediately responded to it. The spontaneous performance of early-era choreography that followed members looking at each other with expressions of genuine surprise and delight, trying to remember steps from 13 years ago, getting pieces of it right and pieces of it gloriously wrong, covering for each other, laughing, was not a planned concert moment. It was 7 people in a stadium experiencing genuine nostalgia together with 65,000 of their fans. Jimin during No More Dream at Foxborough. This is the specific thing. Because here is the context. Jimin in 2026 is one of the most visually striking performers alive. In a silver enchanted side braid, at a stadium concert on the largest tour South Korean music has ever produced. And No More Dream is him at 15, 16 years old, performing his first song, before any of this existed. And in Foxborough, those 2 things happened in the same body, on the same stage, in the same night. The cameras caught his face during the spontaneous No More Dream performance, and what they caught was not ParkJimin, the global superstar. It was just Jimin, genuinely happy, genuinely surprised, laughing at the absurdity and beauty of where he is and where he started. Sportskeeda covered this moment within hours, calling it one of the night's most viral and talked about moments. The headline, "Nostalgia and the Chaos Together." Fans called it iconic before the show had even ended. The second surprise song was Paradise from Love Yourself, Tear, the 2018 album that defined a specific era of BTS's career and carries enormous emotional weight for anyone who was following the group during that time, which is a significant portion of the 65,000 people in that stadium. Paradise went into a different kind of emotional register from No More Dream, softer, more reflective, carrying the specific feeling of 2018 BTS that longtime ARMY will recognize immediately. Two surprise songs, one from 2013, one from 2018. The full 13-year arc of BTS represented in two unplanned performances in a stadium in Massachusetts in 2026. That is not something a setlist committee planned. That is something the universe apparently decided Foxborough needed to have. Now the other members. Because this was a BTS concert and every person on that stage contributed to what the two Foxborough nights were. RM communicating with the American crowd in English during between-song moments, which he does at US dates with a warmth and specificity that makes 65,000-seat stadium feel like a smaller space. Jin, who has been described consistently across the entire ARIRANG World Tour as existing in his peak era, warm and funny and completely present in a way that carries the weight of everything he went through to be standing on that stage. Suga delivering with the precision that his years as Auguste built and then brought back into the group context. Hitting verses with a weight that people who are experiencing BTS for the first time at Gillette understand immediately as something that is not casual. J-Hope generating and sustaining energy that should not be physiologically possible across the full length of a stadium set and somehow sustaining it anyway. V on stage bringing the cinematic quality that his stage presence has always had and that has been documented at every ARIRANG World Tour stop in some form. The specific way he inhabits performance space that makes clips of him circulate with OH Lord in the comments. And Jungkook, who was part of the No More Dream moment, who was caught in fan cam during that spontaneous performance laughing at something specific that Jimin was doing with the 2013 choreography. The specific laugh of someone who has known another person for a very long time and finds them endlessly entertaining. Who performed across both Foxborough nights at the level Jungkook performs at when he is fully committed to a show, which is every show. Both nights ended the same way the North American dates always end, RM addressing the crowd, Arema bombs creating the purple light show that is one of the most visually iconic things that happens at a BTS stadium concert, 65,000 lights in a Massachusetts stadium at night. The encore, the final song, the moment before the stage goes dark where the members are just standing there and you can see them see the audience. This is the thing about the silver braid at Foxborough that I keep coming back to. It was not just a hairstyle choice that generated clip content. It was the right aesthetic decision for this specific stop on this specific tour at this specific moment in Jimin's career and in BTS's 2026. The silver hair carries its own history, 2016 Wings era, 2019 Speak Yourself, now 2026 ARIRANG. 3 different eras, 3 different versions of Jimin, the same color worn completely differently each time. And the braid, specifically at Foxborough, added something that the silver alone at MetLife hadn't had. A quality that multiple people who were there independently reached for the word enchanted to describe without coordinating because it was the accurate word. The Roblox accessory was created because of the blonde braids in Las Vegas. The silver braid at Foxborough doesn't have a Roblox accessory yet. Give it a week. Drop a comment, were you at Foxborough? Were you one of the 65,000? And if you were, what was it like when No More Dreams started playing? Because I need to know from someone who was actually there. Because the fan cams are extraordinary and I suspect the reality was on a different level entirely. Night 2 of Foxborough happened the next day. The tour continues. Baltimore, Arlington, Toronto, Chicago. 4 nights at SoFi in Los Angeles. More cities, more countries. The ARIRANG World Tour runs through March 2027. But Foxborough, August 5th and 6th, 2026. The silver enchanted side braid, the 65,000 people, the surprise No More Dream, 13 years documented in one spontaneous stage moment. That one is going in the permanent record. I'll see you in the next one. Bangtan forever. Purple heart.